Happy Friday, friends. Thank God we made it to another weekend. I had a few more hours, but I don't know about you. I don't do much work on Friday. I kind of just coast through the day, get it over with. Anyway, man, yeah, weekend's finally here. Week 12 is here for the college football weekend. I'm going to go over some of the interesting games coming up this weekend. Got a lot of news items to get to, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Before you start, hit the subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything, wherever it is, somewhere down there. All right, so here we go. Let's get on with the news. New CFP, it came out on Tuesday night. Number 1, Oregon, 2, Ohio State, 3, Texas, 4, Penn State, 5, Indiana, 6, BYU, 7, Tennessee, 8, Notre Dame, 9, Miami, 10, Alabama, 11, Ole Miss, 12, Georgia. Now, 13 and 14. 13 is Boise State, 14 is SMU. A lot of guys on the radio, and maybe TV. I haven't seen TV, but on the radio, I listen to a lot of sports radio, having a problem with Boise and SMU being outside the top 12. I don't know what else you could do about it, except maybe for them to win out and people above them to lose. But, if you look at this thing, you kind of wish sometimes they would have kicked it out to 16 teams because, 15 is A&M. I love my Aggies, but I know they're probably going to lose 1 or 2 more. But 16 K-State, 17 Colorado. Colorado's playing a hell of a good year this year. Washington State, too. I think they only got 1 loss. They're 18. 19 Louisville. Louisville's not too bad. 20 Clemson, 21 South Carolina, 22 LSU, 23 Missouri, 24 Army. They're undefeated. Now, I'm sure people argue, oh, they don't really play nobody, but still, they got a hell of a team. They should get a shot at it. And then 25 Tulane, who's having a hell of a season, too. So, yeah, sometimes you wish they kicked it out 16. Also makes you wonder what happened if they kick it out to, what was the FCS do? 24, I think? Yeah, you get some boogers at the beginning of the year, teams that just get wiped off the map. But still, they're all good teams that may get to the playoff, but we'll see what happens in the future. You never know what they're going to do. USC, they are put on probation and fined $50,000 due to 8 different coaches engaging in on and off the field coaching activities that put them well above the limit of coaching activities in 22 and 2023. So $50,000. Speaking of USC, some sad news here. Legendary Trojan head coach John Robinson passed away from pneumonia. Age of 89. Won the national championship there at USC in 1978. He was 5-time Pac-8 and then Pac-10 champion. Won 4 Rose Bowls there at USC. Won 3 national championships as an assistant coach and also 2 Rose Bowls. He was 132, 77, and 4. That was his record in college. He was also the AD at UNLV, where he also coached there for a couple of years. I believe that was in the 90s, if I remember right. Most recently, he was senior consultant at LSU. That's where he got his last national championship ring because he was there during that 19 national championship run. But passed away at a hospital there in Baton Rouge. So I don't think he was at LSU anymore, but I guess he just lived there in Baton Rouge. But anyway, passed away. 89 years old, legendary college coach. Prayers to him and his family and friends and former teammates. Lost a coaching legend. Lost another head coach. Former Notre Dame head coach Jerry Faust. He passes away at age 89. Also, he was the Notre Dame coach 1981 to 1985. Before that, Akron head coach from 1986 to 1994. Before college, he actually coached at Moeller High School in Ohio from 1962 to 1980. So he was a long-time coach, high school and college. So prayers to him and his family, his friends, and all his old teammates and colleagues. Lost two coaching legends of college football this week. Ole Miss fined $350,000 for rushing the field after they beat Georgia. Speaking of that, you see the video of Jake Pope, Georgia player, celebrating on the Ole Miss field. People saw that and they were freaking out, like, why is this guy celebrating? They just lost. And then He said he was with friends that he hadn't seen in a very long time, so he was just happy to see them jumping up and down. Hey, man, what y'all doing here? Uh, Kirby Smart said in a press conference when asked about it, he said, "What an idiot! That is just stupid." Uh, Later, he recanted, saying, "Hey, blasting him was a mistake." Maybe he finally heard the story. Um, yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. You're like, why is this guy celebrating? But he hadn't seen friends and family in a long time. And a couple guys on the radio, I don't know if you listen to him, Danny Cannell and his partner, Dusty Dvorak, I think that's how you say it. They were saying after they lost the big game, they didn't care who they saw. They just were not in the mood to talk to anybody. So they're saying, well, maybe that's now the culture, the way people are nowadays, And from what I heard, I think they said Jake Pope has bounced around from team to team, so he's not. They're saying maybe he's not really loyal, feeling the loyalty, I guess, towards Georgia, so that's why he was doing it. But kind of a weird situation, but I don't know. I guess everybody's going to move on past this and find something else this Saturday to talk about. Big 12, they fined Utah AD Mark Harlan $40,000 for remarks about officiating following the BYU loss. Remember, he said, we are happy to join the Big 12. We're not happy tonight about being in them or something like that. Anyway, Big 12 says, well, here's your $40,000 ticket. Pay it up. And last bit of news, BC quarterback Thomas Castellanos gets benched for poor play. Takes his ball, goes home to the transfer portal. Another thing they were talking about on the radio. Other teams out there looking for a quarterback see this guy and say, well, can we rely on this guy? I mean, if he's not having a good game, we bench him. Is he going to take off on us? They make a good point. I mean, why would you want to get yourself mixed up with somebody like that? But I don't know. Not my team, so oh well. All right, so games this week. Monday, college basketball. There are no top 25 upsets. No football either, of course. Tuesday, football. Bowling Green, they moved to 6-4, beat Western Michigan 31-13. Buffalo 6-4, beat Ball State 51-48 in overtime. Toledo 7-3, beat Central Michigan 37-10. Toledo defense, 5 takeaways in that game. Basketball, number 1, Kansas beat Michigan State 77-69. With that, Bill Self became the winningest coach in KU history. Number 19, Kentucky beat number 6, Duke 77-72. Moving on to Wednesday, football. Miami of Ohio is 6-4. They beat Kent State 34-7. Poor Kent State, they are 0-10. They've got to win at least one game, right, to salvage their season so they don't have a goose egg in that record. Come on, Kent State. Y'all can do it. Y'all can do it. Ohio Bobcats are 7-3, beat Eastern Michigan 35-10. Eastern Michigan 5-5, just one win away from that bowl eligibility. Bobcat quarterback Parker Navarro, 277 passing yards, right? 0 touchdowns. But not to worry. He ran for 106 and 4 touchdowns, so I guess he kind of made up for it in the running game. Northern Illinois is 6-4, beat Akron 29-16. There are no top 25 basketball upsets on Wednesday. Last night, East Carolina 6-4. They beat Tulsa 38-31. They scored 2 late touchdowns in the fourth and had a goal line stand in the last, 2 or 3 seconds to win that game and beat Tulsa. Basketball, no top 25 upsets. I've said before in the past, as soon as we get done with football, not totally done with football, but probably January, we will dive full hit on into college basketball, going outside the top 25. But for right now, while we got football going on, we just kind of concentrate on top 25. Unless there's some kind of major upset or something from some team that's not ranked, then we'll dive into that too. All right, so let's get down to what's going on this weekend. Friday, tonight, 7 p.m. ESPN2, 5-4 North Texas versus 4-5 UTEP. Or not UTEP, UTSA, I'm sorry, UTSA. I put this one on here because UTA has been on the rise, and both got great quarterbacks. Chandler Morris for UNT, 3,087 passing yards, 26 touchdowns. He's throwing 10 picks, but and their wide receiver GT Sheffield, 10 receiving touchdowns. So that might be one to check out tonight. 8 p.m. on Fox, 4-5 UCLA versus 5-5 Washington. Two programs headed in opposite directions. It seems UCLA is going up. Washington's been first they're up, then they're running in the middle, now they're kind of going down. So we'll see. 9:15 FS1, 4-5 Houston versus 3-6 Arizona. Again, two programs heading in opposite directions. Arizona's been headed downward the whole season. I don't know what the hell's going on there in Tempe. Houston started bad, but now they're starting to go up. I mean, they're 2 bowl wins away from bowl eligibility, so they've really turned it on. Seems like that coaching change did a really good job for them. Fitz came in, things didn't really look like they were doing so good, but all of a sudden now they're so pay attention to them. Saturday, 11 a.m. ESPN2, 8-2 Tulane versus 7-2 Navy. This should be a really good game. Two great quarterbacks. Tulane's Darian Mensah, 2,059 yards, 16 touchdowns, and only 4 picks this year. Navy's Blake Harvath, 1,154 yards, 11 touchdowns. He's thrown 4 picks also. Also, 2 great running backs. Tulane's got Mahik Hughes, 1,204 yards, 13 touchdowns. Navy's running back, their quarterback, Blake Harbaugh, 870 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns. That should be a pretty damn good game. 11 a.m. ESPN2, number 23, 7-2. Oh, no, I'm sorry, on ESPN. This one's on ESPN. Tulane Navy's on ESPN2. But at the same time on ESPN, number 23, 7-2 Clemson versus number 18, 7-2 Pitt. Good ACC matchup. 2 great passing games. Clemson's, of course, got K. Klubnik, 2,275 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Pitt's got Eli Holstein, 2,177 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 6 picks this year. 11 a.m. on ABC, number 5, 8-1 Texas versus 5-4 Arkansas. You just don't know what Arkansas team you're going to get. One week you got the worst team at any level of football. Next week they're pulling a win or pulling an upset. And remember, a few years ago, Texas went into Arkansas. Everybody expected Texas to win. Arkansas beat them. Playing there in Fayetteville, it is a day game, so not much time to, partake on adult beverages and get really loud. But hey, you never know. Arkansas could pull off an upset. 11 a.m. on Fox, 4-5 Utah versus number 20, 7-2 Colorado. Could this be a trap game for Colorado? Utah is a good team. I mean, they lost Rising, so almost beat BYU. So you got to think, could this be a trap game for Colorado? You never know. 11 a.m. on Big Ten Network, number 2, 8-1 Ohio State versus 4-5 Northwestern. Ohio State is better in the passing game. Northwestern's they're kind of even in the rushing game with Ohio State. But Northwestern, another one, they're a good team. Ohio State is good, but they're not like the Ohio States we've seen the last couple of years. Could Northwestern pull one off? We'll see. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 5-4 Coastal Carolina versus 6-3 Marshall. Both these teams are even in the passing game and rushing game. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, 9-1 Mercer versus number 11, 7-2 Bama. Mercer is a really good FCS team. Now, in the past, we've seen Bama beat up on FCS teams. Yes, Alabama's good, but they are not past years Alabama good. Never know. Mercer might go in there and steal one. Probably not, but hey, don't be surprised if it happens. 1:30 on FS1. 4-5 Michigan State versus 6-3 Illinois. Michigan State's been getting good. The stock is starting to go up. Illinois, man, they started off great, and then they started going so. But they're playing in Champaign, so, East Champaign, West Champaign, wherever it is, they play it. 2 p.m. on the CW, 6-3 Syracuse versus 5-4 Cal. Another one of those coast-to-coast games, which is just crazy, I think. 2:30 on ABC, number 15, 6-3 LSU versus 4-5 Florida. Usually a pretty good battle. And it's pretty entertaining to see Chris Doring and Burns over there on SEC mornings to see what kind of bet they got. I mean, one year Doring had to wear a LSU baseball uniform through the airport, and he had to sit on the set in a turkey and stuff. So it's always interesting to see what him and Peter, what kind of crazy bet they got going. As far as the game, I just don't know. I just don't know anymore about LSU. I really don't. You never know. I mean, bad play calling, defense is off. You just don't know each series. You don't know what LSU team you're going to get. I think I read Florida. I think the quarterback that got hurt's going to play. So who knows? Who really knows? Probably a coin flip. 2:30 on NBC. 5-4 Virginia versus number 10, 8-1 Notre Dame. Virginia has been playing better over the last couple of weeks. We just mentioned Boston College. Their quarterback took his ball and went home. 2:30 on ESPN. 5-4 Boston College versus number 13, 8-1 SMU in Dallas. SMU's Kevin Jennings, 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Thomas Castellanos that we talked about. Don't know what the heck is going on there. He's got 1,366 yards, 18 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Boston College this year. I don't know if he's been making mistakes the last few games or what, but you figure with those numbers, he'd still be there starting. I don't know. Maybe something behind the scenes. Who knows? 3 p.m. on ESPN2, 5-4 Baylor versus 5-4 West Virginia. Baylor better passing game. These teams are even in the rushing game. Big 12 battle for these teams trying to get to bowl eligibility. Baylor is playing better, too. West Virginia is actually stepping up a little bit also. 3 p.m. on Fox, 5-4 Nebraska versus 4-5 USC. Things have to go right for one of these two teams. Nebraska's looking good early in the season. They've kind of fallen off. USC, personally, I never thought they looked good. Maybe a couple times here and there. But anyway, check it out if you want. 3:15 on SEC Network. Number 24, 7-2 Missouri. Missouri hanging on to a top 25 ranking. Versus 6-3 South Carolina. They're in South Carolina. We've seen how tough South Carolina is. To me, that team should be undefeated or only have one loss. They just, plenty of times, just kind of screwed themselves out of a win. And like I said, Missouri, they're just playing with fire every week. I mean, you just wait for them to get burned and lose another game. But, hey. 7 p.m. on ESPN, 7-2 Arizona State versus number 19, 7-2 Kansas State. Great passing games. ASU's better in the rushing game. Just a good primetime Big 12 matchup. 6 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. Number 12, 8-1 Boise State versus 6-3 San Jose State. Two good quarterbacks. Both these teams actually have good quarterbacks. Boise State does have Genty, though. Genty, is that how you say his name? Badass running back. If he keeps playing like that, he should be, you would think he would be at New York there in December. 6:30 on ABC. Number 7, 8-1 Tennessee versus number 3, 7-2 Georgia. To me, after seeing both the way these teams have played this year, is a coin flip. The last few years, you could say Georgia's going to win. I just don't know this year. I really don't know. Seems like everybody who's on top of the world for the last few years are still up there, but barely hanging on, except maybe Oregon. 6:30 at NBC. Number 1, 10-0 Oregon versus 5-4 Wisconsin. Camp Randall at night is a tough place to play. Don't know if there would be an upset, but they could give Oregon fits. I mean, we'll see what happens there. 7 p.m. ACC Network. 4-5 Wake Forest versus 5-4 North Carolina. Good interstate battle. North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Duke. They all don't like each other, so that could be one worth watching. Hey, 7 p.m. on Fox, 5-4 Cincinnati versus number 17, 7-2 Iowa State. Can you give Iowa State their third straight loss? I don't know. Like the guys on TV say, you just don't come into Jack Trice Stadium and expect to win. That's where they're playing. 8:30 on Fox Sports 1. Number 21, 8-1 Washington State versus 4-6 New Mexico. When will New Mexico learn to finish games? Is it going to happen this year? Because the games I saw earlier in the year that they lost, the fourth quarter came around. That was it. They were done. Really, these guys should already be bold. They should be probably 6-4 instead of 4-6, but I don't know. 9:15, your late games, ESPN. They could be good. Like, okay, you got 3-6 Kansas versus number 9, 9-0 BYU. Will that Kansas team from last week show up to play BYU? That's the big question. if that same team, Kansas offense, defense shows up, they could beat BYU. Like I said, though, the big question is, will that Kansas team from last week, which looked like the Kansas teams from the last couple of years, will they show up Saturday night? Who knows? Worth checking out. Then 9:30 on CBS Sports, 3-6 San Diego State versus 7-2 UNLV. I'll put this one down because it starts at 9:30. It's late night football. So why not? Okay, so FCS, they got some not as many big games as they have the last few weeks. 11 a.m. on Flow, 8-2 Villanova versus 4-6 Monmouth. 11 a.m. on Flow, 8-2 Richmond versus 5-5 Hampton. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 7-1 Harvard versus 4-4 Penn. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 6-4 Morehead State versus 7-1 Drake. 12 p.m. on Flow, 5-5 St. Thomas, Minnesota versus 8-2 Butler. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 7-2 South Dakota versus 5-5 North Dakota. North Dakota's 5-5, but it is a border rivalry. That could be a pretty good one to check out. 12 p.m. on Flow, 8-2 Stony Brook versus 6-4 New Hampshire. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 5-5 Tennessee Tech versus 7-3 UT Martin. 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 8-2 Incarnate Word, who's got a hell of a quarterback, Calzada. The guy's just amazing. Versus interstate rival, 6-4 Stephen F. Austin. This one here, why it's on ESPN Plus, I don't know. Should be on the network somewhere, but 2:30 ESPN Plus. Where was it? 8-2 Missouri State versus 9-1 North Dakota State. Like I said, it's on ESPN Plus, but what are you gonna do? 3 p.m. ESPN Plus, 7-2 South Carolina State versus 5-5 Morgan State. Another good one at night on ESPN Plus. I mean, ESPN has got some so-so. I mean, they got one game that could particularly be good, but why this one isn't on TV, I don't know. 6 p.m. 7-3 Abilene Christian versus 8-2 Tarleton State. Another interstate battle for Texas. I don't know. And let's do it again. Here's another one that should be on TV, but we got two so-so games on TV. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. 10-0 Montana State versus 9-1 UC Davis. UC Davis went up to Missoula, beat Montana last week. Can they pull the Montana sweep this year? Who knows? We'll see. That is it. Stay busy. We just got a few more hours, and then we'll clock out or punch out, whatever you do, and head home, and the weekend is here. Hey, enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy football. Enjoy whatever you're going to do. We will see you back Sunday or Monday to go over everything that happens this weekend. Anyway, see you next time.